Now to President Trump in a dramatic new admission in the Russia investigation. Reversing course on previous denials, President now saying that the purpose of his son's Trump Tower meeting with Russians was to get information on Hillary Clinton. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega is in Washington with all the fallout. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. The explanations on this now infamous Trump Tower meeting have been shifting since day one, and now this admission from the president himself. But the real question this morning, what is Robert Mueller going to do with it? This morning, President Trump is bracing for an epic showdown with Robert Mueller. His attorney, Jay Sekulow, says if the special counsel subpoenas the president, they will take the fight all the way to the Supreme Court.
You get a subpoena, you file what's called a motion to quash. We'll prepare to handle it in court.
The Russia investigation had the president fuming all weekend from a rally in Ohio.
The Russian witch hunt, a Democrat-inspired witch hunt.
To his working vacation at his Bedminster golf course, where he repeatedly lashed out on Twitter. Fueling his anger, a Washington Post report that says the president is increasingly worried about how the probe could hurt what he calls innocent and decent people, namely his son Don Jr., for his part in that now infamous Trump Tower meeting with Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, and the Russians. The president writing, fake news reporting, a complete fabrication that I am concerned about the meeting my wonderful son Donald had in Trump Tower. Initially, Don Jr. claimed the meeting was about Russian adoptions.
Did you tell your father anything about this?
No. It was such a nothing. There was nothing to tell.
But now his clearest admission yet on the true purpose to get dirt on Hillary Clinton, tweeting, "This was a meeting to get information on an opponent, totally legal and done all the time in politics, and it went nowhere. I did not know about it." While the president publicly maintains he did not know about the meeting in advance, sources tell ABC News his personal lawyer at the time, Michael Cohen, says the president did know and before it happened. And it has caught the attention of the special counsel, who wants to know what really happened behind closed doors. The president's lawyer, Jay Sekulow, telling George there was nothing illegal about it.
How would that be legal?
Well, the question is, how would it be illegal? What law, statute, or rule or regulation has been violated? Nobody's pointed to one.
Well, actually, Mueller's team has pointed to some. Among the things they are investigating: defraud, conspiracy to defraud, and aiding and abetting. The law on this is very clear. It is illegal for campaigns to accept foreign contributions. The question that Mueller will no doubt be asking, is that what happened, George, inside that Trump Tower meeting?
A lot of facts to run down. Okay, Cecilia, thanks very much. Let's talk about it now with our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. And Dan, let's begin with yesterday's tweet, because it's really quite remarkable. The president in that tweet is basically admitting that he misled the country before.
That's right. And Ken Starr, back with the Clinton investigation, determined that lying to the public could be, in and of itself, a ground for impeachment. So you've got, first of all, the evolving stories. And let's be clear, the idea that a lawyer for the president of the United States is coming forward and saying, hey, I had bad information, as if that happens all the time, that a lawyer for the president gets bad information about a critical... this doesn't happen. So you've got the evolving statements about was the president involved in writing the initial statement for Donald Jr. To what was the purpose of the meeting. Then you've got the legal questions. And as Cecilia points out, there are a couple of possible laws here. Number one, of course, is the basic campaign finance violations. Did he solicit something of value? They're going to have to look to intent, et cetera. And the other is a broader statute, which Robert Mueller has been using in connection with a number of the Russians that have been indicted, and that is broadly a conspiracy to defraud the United States. And that just means, in essence, a conspiracy to try to help affect the election in a fraudulent way.
One denial the president is sticking to right now is that he didn't know anything about that Trump Tower meeting.
He has to stick to that part, because if he says he knew about the meeting, that almost certainly means Donald Jr. lied in front of Congress. And I think that would almost certainly mean that Donald Jr. would get indicted. And that's, I think, got to be his number one concern. We can talk about all of these questions of campaign finance law and possible defrauding of the United States. The number one concern of his right now has to be that statement to Congress from Don Jr. that Donald Trump didn't know about the meeting.
Quickly, another reason he can't or won't meet with Mueller.
The Mueller meeting isn't going to happen. We've talked about this many times. I don't think there's going to be an interview. I also don't think they're going to try and subpoena him.
Dan Abrams, thanks very much.